Hello,
everyone. How are you? Is everyone good? Yeah. Woo! I love this conference. I make this joke every time, but it's always true. I'm never so happy to stand in line for a bathroom as I am at a women's tech conference, right? Because how rare is that?
It's very rare.
I know.
Yeah, but this is my first woman in product.
Yay!
I've always heard of it. And then I'm like, I've always wanted to go, but I never had a chance. It's my first time. Oh my God. Yeah. We are here for a visibility panel. And I think what's interesting is like, Ami and I, we haven't really met before. And so we got put on this panel and then both of us were like, wait.
I know, she was like intentionally designing. And I was like, that's not me. I haven't intentionally, have you intentionally designed your career?
I think I have, but I would say we're like such opposites and we all are very similar in many ways. But I think that I also like didn't understand the topic. I was like, wait, I don't think I'm the right person. And she was like, I don't think I'm the right person. We're like, we're gonna find the
How do we get here?
How do we get here? So we'll do some quick introductions. But you are a legend in tech. Yeah. Like when people say woman in product, it is Ami Vora, and she was 150 employee at Facebook, 33 at Instagram, 300 something at WhatsApp. 250. And was the VP of product, director of product, led Facebook ads, Instagram ads, WhatsApp, and then most recently CPO of Fair.
You are doing a good job at LinkedIn.
Ended in December and is now in your sabbatical side quest era.
Yes.
Woo! That is Ami.
My friends say my version of Eat, Pray, Love is like beach yoga walk around. So I'm like walking around a lot right now. That's kind of what I'm doing.
That's really good. And we were talking about how Ami loves traveling and will solo travel for fun. And I am the complete opposite. I hate it so much. I have to stay in. And that's how we got to know each other today.
Yes, and let me tell you about Chloe. If you don't already follow her, you should. Chloe has 2 million subscribers across TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah. So she is everywhere. She came from a career in product operations, and then product, and then turn that into being like a creator about product content with kind of a bird's eye view of how the product job is done and how it's done differently in different places. So it's been really fascinating to kind of watch your stuff.
And it's fascinating to watch your stuff. As I'm reading your LinkedIn and your newsletter, I'm like, wait, this is so good. Wait, how come I didn't have this earlier? I wish I learned so much about your work when I was maybe starting off.
You can just keep saying nice things about me for another 30 minutes. I'll take it. I think that's a pretty good use of time.
It's actually so rare because as someone who had no tech connections, like pivoting and becoming a product manager was so hard, and it was my badge of honor, and it really took knowing people inside to learn. So then that's like kind of why I started to create external content, talk about my journey in product, but I have no idea why you started. And I wanted to hear that. I feel like I know my journey. I don't know your journey. I want to know.
Yeah, tell me about your journey. So you're kind of a professional content creator. You took a giant step of kind of exiting the product management world and doing this full time. Like, what inspired you to do that? What led you to do it? I
actually started part-time 5 years ago when I first started being a product manager at TikTok. And then I think before then, I was in prod ops at Facebook. And honestly, like you don't get paid that much in prod ops, so I had roommates, and so when the solo class. Yeah. So then when I finally became a PM, I was like, I could make enough money to have my own apartment, and then
that's a good goal.
And then have my own space to shoot. So I think that was like a huge unlock for me. And then I started to create content about product because I was so frustrated that it took me 2 years to transition. I was like, it shouldn't be this hard. Like it shouldn't be this gate kept. I feel like I work hard, I'm good, I'm smart, but I'm not getting the opportunities and I don't know what it is about my background that I'm not getting through.
That's frustrating.
So then I wanted to create those public resources. Then it became, I felt really invisible at certain companies and where I would pour my heart into projects and be the lead, and it would be my idea, my execution, my results. But then on the press release article, it's like some sort of exec's name that doesn't know anything about my area. And I think I understand why, like the PR person would say, like, you're just not visible enough. And I would get so angry, but I know that it's for the company, it's not for me. So I would just go to social media and post like, this is my project, and at least it's real for me. And that's how the journey.
Ownership.
Yeah. it's how the journey began. Like, even if someone else erases me, at least I can own it on my own Facebook or on LinkedIn. And that's how it started, and then it just evolved a lot across the years. And now I'm full-time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How about you? When did it start?
So I write a newsletter. I didn't intend to do that. Kind of my experience was trying to make myself less visible, actually, for most of my career, where I felt like I was a pretty vocal, kind of, the word that comes to mind is aggressive, and that is like the standard word that we all know, the research says, that's what you apply to women who have opinions, you call them aggressive, you call them brusque, right? And so I got that feedback when I entered the working world. And so a lot of my learning how to be successful at work was just being less of that. And in some ways, like really losing my voice. Like I tried to just, whenever someone had feedback that I was like too much, I'd be like, oh cool, I'm not gonna do that anymore. Like, oh cool, I'm not gonna, and then unfortunately it kind of worked and I was more successful, but I just had fewer and fewer opinions. And then I made it into a leadership position and my whole team was like, well, what do you think? And I was like, oh my God, I forgot I was supposed to have an opinion. And I just had to relearn how to have a voice and how to have an opinion and how to state what I thought, but in a way that people could hear me and they could know that I also heard them. You know, and I had to go through this whole exercise. And as part of that, I ended up running a pretty big team. And I would always get these questions that were super awkward. And if you haven't, I'm a very awkward person, you know that. And so I think that also made people comfortable just coming to me with their awkward questions of like, ooh, I think like I'm maybe not performing so well. How do I know? Like what's happening? Ooh, I think someone on my team isn't performing so well. I have to give them some feedback. How do I do it? Ooh, I think I have to like reorg, but I don't know how. And those are all, what I noticed was that the people who were coming to ask me those questions were worried they were like failing. You know, they were worried that because they had these questions and because they didn't know all the answers, they were like not the right person for the job. And so I started writing mostly to be like, selfishly, like clearing out my brain a little bit, but also because I wanted people to see that like it's super messy. Just like living is super messy, you know? And even people who you think might know are living super messily. And like anyone can solve these problems. Nobody knows the answer immediately. Like you can do it. It just takes like a little bit of work and trial and error. And that's just like what I wanted people to get from these, just by like saying, yeah, it's super hard when you're getting tough feedback. That's normal. It actually happens to everyone. So like, it's not you. It's just like a normal thing. And that just kind of grew, you know?
When was it?
Actually, I started writing internally. I started writing over 10 years ago. I started writing in 2014. I did not work up the courage to publish even internally to Facebook until 2017. And then I didn't work up the courage to publish externally until 2022. So there were like these huge gaps of just like me being like, oh, does anyone need another article on the internet? Like, you know, like, and who am I to write? Like, people are gonna think.
What do you mean, who are you? What do you mean?
I mean, you know, like there's all these fears that hold you back. And, you know, am I the right person? Are people gonna take this amiss? Am I gonna like say something mean accidentally? Am I gonna come off as super out of touch? You know, just what will they think? What will they think is always what's in my head. And so it just took a while before I was like, really what happened was I got enough positive feedback of people being like, you know what, this meant something to me, that like, it showed this is normal. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. And if nobody ever reads these, that's okay. It's just for me, it's for me to put it out there, and then whatever happens, happens. And I can just do it for myself. And that's been a total liberator, actually, for me to say, you know what, I don't feel like writing today, I'm just not going to. Like, I wanna go on vacation, I'm gonna go on vacation. I'm not gonna, you are a professional content creator. Like, how do you deal with like the pressure of doing it? Like, what does it even feel like?
Professionally? No, it feels bad if I don't have a post out ready. Like you're always, I think that's the double-edged sword. And a lot of people ask me, oh, I want to post more externally. And I'm like, you have a full-time job and you want to post? Dude, that's like not an easy thing because it's not chill. It's not
chill.
casual. Like writing a post is like your kind of your heart out there, and there's a lot of craft and intention and reflection. But yeah, and you have to do it regularly for it to like become a thing. And posting every once in a while and it not being a thing is probably not worth it, in my opinion. Like we do want to invest in this like skill or this hobby or this writing experience. But no, I do think professionally it's like completely different. When I was, that's why I didn't want to go into professionally when I was in product. I was like, no way, I'm just doing this for fun. Like if I don't want to do it, I just don't make a video. But then now I'm here. Yeah, it's a little different. But it's okay, I like it now.
How did you balance that like internal and external visibility?
Yeah, that was really different for me, and I'm really curious to hear about your experience too. But I get a lot of questions about like how do you create external visibility because I am on public platforms. So I'll comment on that. But then internally, I also like had to grow my visibility throughout the different companies I've worked at. I worked, at Google, so big. Startup so small, and then at Facebook so big again, and having to like reinvent myself and build a presence so quickly, and then joining TikTok, which is like in a different language internally, and I'm like, oh my god, new culture, and then Discord, different culture whatsoever, like completely. Internally, at my level, at like entry level / mid level to senior, it always came back down to like 3 tactical things. And number 1 is become really known, become the number 1 person for a certain expertise. To be like, if you are the person who owns shooters at Epic Games, everyone who's working on shooters will go to you. Oh, Chloe is that person. This person knows about skins, about stickers. So become that. And then the second is, people at the company who don't know you should know your work and why it matters to the company. And how does that manifest? It's like the weekly updates. It's like at the all hands. It's creating artifacts that people can reference. It's the keyword search. And then the third is when big decision meetings happen, the executives and leaders invite you to that meeting room for your perspective, for your opinion, and that your opinion matters and is trusted. And so those 3 vectors need to pass for me to like be able to combat any feedback that my manager gives me, like you're not visible enough. Those 3 are usually
the main. Those are hard though.
Those are so hard, yeah.
They're really hard. Like did you manage that? How did you manage it?
I think I moved around my career a lot, and I think that's like the biggest criticism for my career path is like, oh, you've only been at a company at most 3 years, but usually about 1 to 2.5 years. And it's really hard to build that rapport and trust in that short amount of time. And so I was doing it throughout my career up until I got to Discord, and I just decided I'm not going to do that anymore. And I decided to only focus on my team and execute and like protect my team when I need to and go represent the results and like get the headcount, get the buy-in, and make sure I'm staffing them on product features that will be prioritized. But beyond that, I didn't really quote unquote play the game and like become this larger presence at the company.
You like decided.
I decided that
not
because
to want more internal visibility.
It's a lot of work. You gotta go to the happy hours. You gotta like be friends. You gotta go to the offsites and onsites and like go hang out after. And I just didn't have that in me because I felt I dedicated all my career to my 9 to 5. And I wanted so badly to create something of my own. And then I can't do both right now. Like I don't have that much energy. So I decided to focus a lot of my energy on writing that post for the next day instead of staying the extra 1 to 2 hours to hang and understand people outside of my team. I didn't hang out with executives. Like I was not really friends with them. And so I think that that's surprising to people who see me and my public platform and then know me internally. And it's hard to manage because then I think I'm a special case where I'm like, people will talk like about me online and be like, oh, she's XYZ. I didn't even know her at Facebook. She was nothing, blah, blah, blah. But then your core team knows you. Yeah. And then your public community also knows you and your work. And just managing all of that perception was like very hard at first. And I realized, oh, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to try to perceive you. I only want to show up for the people who really I care about. And I only have limited energy. So that's how I managed that.
So you had to like split them pretty completely.
Yeah, I can't. I've learned that I can do anything, but I can't do everything, and doing everything sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for do less. Let's all just do a little less. Yeah.
You don't have to 100%. Do it all. So that's my internal like journey, and then I think Actually, let's keep to internal before we go to external.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think that your journey, you said that you were trying to diminish your visibility, and then it came back out.
Yeah.
So
I think it's something I still sometimes feel in me that I struggle with, was just like trying to put myself in the background for so long. I was kind of worried of what would happen if people noticed me, like that they would just think something bad about me. You know, I don't even know exactly what. But I think it just kept me in the background for a really long time. And then when I suddenly had to be more visible, it was extremely uncomfortable. And I kind of had to, and there's so many, like I'm an extreme introvert. I would rather just be like watching Netflix and eating marshmallows right now. I will be very honest. I'm really good at that. I can eat a lot of marshmallows. But I also I had some ambitions. I wanted to do some stuff in the world. And like that normally, maybe it will now, but like that normally did not go to people who are just eating marshmallows in their room by themselves. So I just like had to learn, how do I manage people with respect? How do I organize teams? How do I think about what I think is going to happen in the future, and then like help people channel their energy toward that? How do I bring like just the day-to-day? I had to train myself into how do I do it, you know? How do I like give feedback in a product review where I can't tell if everyone thinks I'm just like not making any sense, but nobody is willing to say that to me, you know, like just how do you do those things? And I just had to kind of decide I was going to do them and put in the reps and be willing to like grab a microphone and get on stage. And then it was all just like for me, a big thing is like knowing that you can always have more opportunities in the future. Knowing that like you get on stage, maybe you do a terrible job, people will probably forget and they'll probably ask you to do it again. Like that's what I tell myself all the time. Like this could go, well, no, this will be great.
Yeah,
this will be great.
This will be great.
But regardless, like probably next year they will have forgotten and be like, hey, do you want to do a thing, you know? And so just reminding myself that there's always more reps, there's always more opportunities. This is a game of just like always getting better and not worrying too much. That's something that really helped me over time, is just thinking, okay, why not? Why not? What's really the worst thing that'll happen?
That's awesome.
I also have like a little like PowerPoint presentation in my head of just all the worst times I've failed. And then whenever something bad happens, I'm like, this isn't even the worst. This isn't even the worst. So like people are still friends with me after that one, and this is gonna be fine. I'll still see people.
What was your personal brand internally?
How do you feel about the words personal brand?
We talked about this earlier. It like gives me the omega ick. I'm like, ew.
Today is the day that I learned the phrase omega ick. I'm gonna be the coolest person in my 10-year-old's classroom.
We talked a lot earlier. Yeah, whenever someone was like, oh, how do you build your personal brand? I'm like, what? What are you asking me?
What?
Like, why are you talking to me right now?
What are we talking about?
But I think that I was like trying to break it down earlier. I was like, what does that mean to me? Like, why is this a term in professionalism right now? And I think it really comes down to, it is what people talk about you when you're not in the room. So essentially, we said, yeah, it's your reputation. That's what your personal brand is. And I think it's why you believe in things that you do, like your values. It's what you are known for, your craft, your expertise. You're the go-to person for XYZ, and it's how people experience you, how you communicate, how you show up, your work ethic, your follow-through, how you make people feel, and all of that becomes how people talk about you and explain you to other people. So that's what I think it is. So how would you say how do you think people explain you internally? Ooh. And then we can go into externally.
Well, I have a take on personal brand, which is like, I don't think it's a thing. I think there's all these things that we tell people they have to think about, and we especially tell women they have to think about. I've had dozens of women ask for advice on their personal brand, and I'm like, number one, have you talked, like, do you think I know? But number two, I have had one man in my entire career, out of hundreds that I've worked with, who has ever asked me for that advice. And I feel like this is one of those things that we tell women that turns into another hoop that just women have to jump through. And those are things I'm just like completely against. That said, Thank you, Women in Product, for inviting me to this talk about personal brand. That said, I do think that it was explained to me, the thing that made it click for me was when someone else explained it to me as like, it's just a reputation. Like when you think about how do people think about you, we already have a real word for that, which is reputation. And a reputation is it's just like what you do every day. Like unless you're trying to sell something that is not you, right? Like if you are selling a book, if you're selling a CPG, like unless you are selling a thing that is separate from you and you have to decide how that thing shows up in the world, your reputation is just how do you show up in the world? And that's just what do you do every day consistently that is true for you. And I think people have this idea of like, oh, your personal, like I should craft a personal brand that is gonna show me off to fit some like shape in the world that is needed. And I don't think that's how it works. I think you just like, you do what you're going to do every day to the best way and most authentic way possible. And then that opens up the opportunities that are kind of shaped like that. And then you can choose, oh, do I want to like shift a little bit this way or that way? But I think it's really dissonant. And you know what? I know this because I tried to be somebody that I wasn't for such a long time. You know, I tried to be smaller and I tried to be less offensive and less aggressive. I tried to do all those things. And it just, I was always running the second engine in my head of like, oh, I know what to do, and now how am I gonna act to make people think that I don't know what to do, and like that this is all, you know, not my idea, you know. It was exhausting. And whenever you can just do the thing you're gonna do, it's so much more efficient. Like you don't have to run two engines of like, what do you wanna do, and then how do you convince people it was their idea? You can just like run one engine, and then your engine is twice as powerful. And then that's what shows up every day, and that's your reputation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think that, okay, so I wanted to ask you what you think your
what's my personal brand?
How do people describe you?
I think I try to be pretty honest. I think people would say I'm pretty direct. I'm pretty like irreverent, you know? I always try to be like, this is fine. I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty like, I'm not like, I wouldn't call myself an optimist in most things, but I'm kind of like a work optimist. I'm like, you know what, this is gonna be fine. You're great, we're gonna get through it, you know? I'm really customer focused. I always care about like, what's the real impact we're having? And I think all of those things are true, you know? I think one thing I think is really true is I'm extremely imperfect. And I try to be really clear that like, actually everyone's imperfect, you just might not see it all the time. And I just want people to know that that's normal. And that's like a big part of like what I try to be. How about you, what's your personal brand? I mean, not personal brand, what's your reputation?
I think that internally it was more expert-based, like, oh, you own this product area. And I think that's, I was like a really design-driven type senior PM. But externally, I think that it really comes down to people who have ambitious goals, like how do you design your life and career to get there, and navigate your pivots, like the in-between, like I left my job or I'm lost. Like I don't think where I am today is where I want to be, and how do I get from A to B? So I feel like that has been people come when they get laid off, when they are going through a life pivot, or when they're lost in life. And I think that's been my space externally. And then just sharing it in a way that is kind of like comforting and calm.
Yeah,
and also, I think a little more accessible and with like very specific tactics instead of like big motivational phrases and quotes and wisdom. But it's like, this is how I would actually do it if I were to start tomorrow.
Yeah.
And here's the step-by-step. And I try to give a lot of frameworks and structure. So I think that's what it is. But I think the external, internal like play is so different for me.
Yeah.
I think people are surprised that I don't really focus on the internal. It's been like a year and 9 months since I've been in a corporate space. And when I tell people that, they're like, oh, I thought you did all this, but internally I'm like, no, dude, that's so different. I think that when people come to me and ask for advice on, I want to post more on LinkedIn or social media, I'm just like, are you sure?
Say like what tactics? Because I do think that's one of the questions, if I were in this room, that I would have is like, okay, but I do want to be more visible. I've gotten feedback that I need to be more visible, or I have something that I want to say that's going out there. Like what advice tactically would you give people?
For external visibility?
Yeah, let's start with external.
I always ask what their goal is and why, because how that changes the way you write your content piece, and then it changes your platform, it changes your cadence, it changes like when you are so tired at the end of the week and you have to open up another Notion doc and like start typing, like that sucks unless you love writing, which I think as PMs you write a lot already, so you're like, you want to go and do something else. But I think external reasons come down to like 3 reasons. Number 1 is you want to promote your current company or product and like, oh, you're working on a product launch. I want to show that I've come to this milestone. I want product feedback. I want to get invited to something else. I want funding. I want to hire. The second reason is building an industry presence for the purpose of future career opportunities, because no one is safe, and you might change your mind, you might not like your job, and other people knowing you and your work is how you're going to get your future opportunities to come to you, so you don't have to apply. And the third reason is to drive to your side hustle, like your book, your newsletter, your podcast. And so if it's not one of those 3, it usually boils down to those 3. Like, pick your lane and then start there, because don't try to like boil the ocean. There's just too much content out there. But also know that your journey is going to be in phases. Like today, maybe you don't know how to write and you don't know what to write, and you're just writing really cringe LinkedIn posts. You know what? That's fine. If you're just trying to do memes and LinkedIn memes, you're just practicing posting every day. It's like putting on your shoes every day to go to the gym, but you're not going to the gym. Yeah. Like you have to start somewhere, right? And build that.
I do that every day.
Yeah.
I'm wearing shoes right now.
Yeah. We're not at the gym yet, but maybe soon.
Yeah.
And
These will take you anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll hear about them.
And then maybe it's a video. Like today, I'm going to just say what I'm doing today so that I'm comfortable on video. And then you like phase into the next. Now I'm going to work on how do I make a good video? How do I write a good script? How do I edit on the phone, on the DSLR, on the laptop, on Premiere Pro? And then that becomes your journey of evolution to finding your medium, your voice, and your cadence, and doing it in a way that complements your current life state. Yeah. That's my take.
I would probably say something similar of starting with the goal. Like, actually, I would start with like why, and then you don't have to. Like, nobody has to be creating an external presence for the most part. I think sometimes you think you have to do everything because somebody out there is doing it, and you like have to do everything and like you don't have to do any of it. Like, you can just do your job and then enjoy your life. That is also like a very valid option, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we should just like remember that that's actually what most people are doing. And sometimes we compare ourselves to like, I feel like we always choose this comparison set of the worst possible people to compare ourselves to. And it's like different. Like I compare myself to like my most fashionable friend and my like most athletic friend and my most like work bad boss friend, you know, like, and all of them just have made different choices and like none of them has the life that I do, you know? And instead we should just be like, wait, is this what we want, you know? And starting from there. And then if you still decide you want to, I think just like take as much pressure off as possible. Like if it's easy for you to write. If it's easy for you to podcast, like do a voice note. If it's easier for you to video, just like just do a thing that is easy that you can just do more of. And then see if you keep on liking it, you know? Instead of putting like a ton of pressure of, I've got to make like a top 10 creator list in the next week, which I think is like how a lot of us go into it, any project with.
It's such a journey, it really is. And I really do agree, you don't have to do it, but I think because we're all online and we see it, like we want to do it, but dude, the reality is so different from what you see online, and that is a life of like constant writing, editing, posting, writing, editing, posting, instead of doing that other hobby that could fulfill you. And I really don't think people need to do it, but I will say, it's one of the easiest things to scratch the itch if you wanted to try and to validate whether or not you like it. And so starting it, knowing that you don't want to do it, is a very viable path too.
Yeah, to just try out and see what you like. And I would also say we all have voices. Like we keep talking about like this particular kind of external visibility of like being known in the industry, but also like every time you speak up in a meeting, you're using your voice. Every time you like teach your kids or the people around you something about the world, you're using your voice. Every time you like de-escalate a conflict, like those are also ways to just get more comfortable using your voice, and I think are at least as valid as like some of the ways we're talking about. And so I think just like feeling, to me a big thing that you said was like you wanted ownership. And I think that is really important. I think we should have more ownership of our voice, but that can show up in so many different ways. And so what I would just say is like figure out what makes you feel like you own your voice and your space, and just try like pushing into that more and more, you know? Instead of feeling like you have to snap to a mold that has been created outside that like doesn't feel like you.
The molds are not good right now.
Mold in general is not a
Yeah.
good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I think we're
about at time.
wrapping
Yeah.
up. I think I'll just do one last question to wrap up.
Okay.
And that is, now that I think you are in your first year of sabbatical and you've gotten to this point where you've had an iconic career and you have this online presence, what do you want to do with all of this moving forward?
That is a lot. That's a lot.
What are you going to do with this power that you have? Tell me now.
I have no idea, and I'm trying to be really comfortable with that. You know, I think like I feel like when I was coming up through the ranks, like I looked at a bunch of senior women who all just felt like super women. If you talk to Deb, Deb knew from like when she was 3 years old what she wanted to do. You know, it doesn't feel right. And I'm like, oh, so I'll never, that's not me. I will never be successful. I will just like have a nice whatever and it'll be fine. And I think it is important for me to just be like, no, I don't know. I never know. And that's okay. And not everybody needs to know. And hopefully it'll work out, you know? And I've been lucky in the past. I'm going to try to stay lucky. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to stay lucky. That's my goal. How about you? What are you going to do with your...
Hold on, staying lucky is a skill. That's a skill. You got to like create the right pillars and stuff to be... I like that. I think that mine is... I have a lot I want to do because I'm still like in my like I still need to do a lot phase. I haven't done enough type era. But I think I wanted this platform so badly, and now that I'm here, I really want to give it to a lot of the other voices.
I love that.
Because I think building a platform and creating content is like not chill, A. And if you're doing real work, you're probably not creating that post. And I want to give that platform to those people who are doing the everyday work. Now that I've mastered that skill set, I want to bring that voice out. So hopefully in a future podcast, if you ever want to...
We'll hang out, man.
If you ever want to...
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chloe.
Yeah.
Follow her on all the things. We'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.